welcome to week 26 of my journey through the Milan Art Institute mastery program. And it's week 26, so we're halfway through the program. Yay! Okay. So we're still in the mixed medium voice section, a little bit more than halfway through that. And this week we learned about applying gold leaf and playing with dry pigments, so like those sort of shimmery, sparkly, kind of mica pigments. And when we did gold leaf, it was, there's sort of the gold sizing that you can just use your paintbrush and paint on. But she also showed us like spray adhesive and pen. So you can do some writing and then apply gold leaf, or you can use kind of stencils and spray, use gold leaf, essentially like spray paint, which is pretty cool. And I've been to both of my local art stores and I cannot find like adhesive gold sizing in a spray can or in a pen. So I'm gonna have to do some digging for those things. I live in the middle of Melbourne, and you would think that in the city everything would be on my doorstep, but it kind of seems like sometimes you have more selection out in the suburbs where the stores can be bigger. But anyway, so I will tell you how that goes when I actually get a hold of the supplies. One thing, so I've used gold leaf before, but one thing that she did say was to do like a glaze over the gold leaf or to paint over it, just to sort of tone down the gold. And that was kind of a thing that I didn't really know about. So again, I still haven't done my gold leaf pieces, but I will. I have laid them out. We'll see. I'll have them for you next week. But this is what we did this week. This is, all right, I'll do this one. This one is just done in acrylic, so it's dry. And I showed you last week a piece that was on my wall, and the background was kind of a low contrast, sort of geometric and stencil-y thing going on. So that was kind of something that I wanted to try. So that's sort of why I've done these pieces like this. And I have used a gold Posca pen, just to get a little bit of gold in there. So that's kind of what I was going for this week. And this one has got same thing. So this background is acrylic, doing this sort of geometric patterns with stencils and sort of graffiti kind of stuff. And then this figure, I went over it with oil paint, so it's still wet, so I don't want to touch it. And then she's got this sort of gold outline around her. So one thing, so we talked about doing sources and critiquing sources and critiquing source photos. So last week we talked about the photographer's voice and whether you're gonna steal the photographer's voice or not, and you shouldn't, and how not to. And then this week we looked at a lot of source photos and critiqued them about whether they would make good sources. So one thing was, trick photography doesn't make a great source photo. Things like lighting, is there enough contrast in the lighting to describe the form? And then sort of composition, like, do you have the full figure or the full information of the shape of that object or animal or person, or is it cropped? So you kind of want to find someone where you've got like the full body, and then you can choose how to crop it. What else? Oh, we talked about positioning. So if someone, she showed horses, but like if someone's sort of positioned in a way where their hand just looks like really weird, like when you go to paint that's never gonna look normal. So you have to like try and find a source where the person already looks pretty normal, and you're not gonna have like weird things behind the things. She talked about tangent edges when we're doing our own composition. This is kind of pushing it. This may be considered a tangent edge, but like her arm is sort of off to the side, so that's probably no good. Triangles in the corners, that was kind of in the composition week. And then after that, then she talked about creating sources, and she didn't just jump right into like, how do you create a digital source? She talked about idea boards. And so last week when I printed out my personal aesthetic and my artwork to emulate and put it on the wall in my studio, like the idea was that I would have that as a reference to give me ideas for creating work. But so essentially that's what an idea board is. And so I created one, and you can see it on my blog. There'll be a link down here to my blog, and I'll put that up there. So I just picked one image from my personal aesthetic to get the color scheme. And then I picked an image from Artwork to Emulate, which was this one with the low contrast background. And then I actually edited it to take out the figure and just like have the background repeating. And then I desaturated it, so I had a grayscale version, and I did some color overlay so that it would have the color scheme that I wanted to work with as well. Did a subject, put a subject in my idea board, which was this one, and then just some other stuff. Like I like to use a lot of stencils, so I used put a little stencil pattern that I often use in there, and this lotus sort of pattern, I put that in there as well. So then the idea is that you've got all these sort of disparate elements on your idea board, and they kind of tie together. For me, it's for the color scheme. And then you just take inspiration from those, and you can use one idea board and create a whole series of work, combining those elements in different ways. So I think I quite like working that way. I think she's going to show us other ways to create sources, but I quite enjoy working that way because I make a lot of decisions on the canvas. I don't just create something digitally and then just copy it. When I do that, I'm always a little bit disappointed in how it turns out because it doesn't glow like it does on the screen. You can't get like those really cool glowing colors. So anyway, so that was this week, and I'm actually feeling quite good about these pieces. I actually quite like them. I've just finished them, so we'll see how I feel about them tomorrow, but nothing that I totally hate. So I think we're getting there. We're getting there slowly. All right, so if you like what you see and you want to see more of my journey, you can follow me on social media. You can read more and see more on the blog. If you want to see the finished artworks, those will be up on my website as well. Until next week, enjoy. Thanks. Bye.